clouds, baby. We're recording. All right, today's cookery thingy is some form of, let's call it a spiced rice dish, like a biryani. Johnny Cordy, fuck me, here we go. And 2 days ago, I cooked some lamb, of which you all saw the result of the lamb and how it was. And you're going to see it's still in the fucking pan I cooked it in. See that? So we're going to do like spiced rice, let's call it Indian style if you like. And I've got lamb, you've got chicken, mine's got beef, it doesn't matter, whatever. And also, in here are vegetables.
Olivia's definitely come in, so I don't know where she is.
This is for Olivia that we're going to do like a vegetable version. It doesn't have to be meat, but it goes to work. So there are a few basic things that we want to cover. So it's how to cook the rice, how to prepare the base of seasoning for the rice, and then, you know, adding all the rest will be in pretty elementary stages, that we add this one, then we do this, then we do this, and then it's all ready. All right? So first things first, we'll go through the ingredients. We're going to have basmati rice, onions, garlic.
Awesome.
Oh, it was just frozen.
Hang on. What the
Johnny, shut the fuck up.
Sorry. Sorry. What's happening?
I'm just going to mute Johnny because he's...
What was that last one, Justin?
Ginger.
Ginger.
Yeah. Chilies. These are spices that could include, but don't have to exclusively include, chili powder, some cumin, mustard seeds, garam masala.
Is that what you were talking about last night?
Yeah, this garam masala is a blend of, and I will tell you, coriander, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, cumin, fennel, black pepper, chili, cardamom, star anise, bay leaf, sunflower oil, and nutmeg. That's what's in this one. They're all a little bit different, but you get my point. It's basically a powder of all those things blended in a certain way. So you basically have that pre-done. My wife's just taken her whoppers out.
Look at me.
Look at that. Whoppers. Look.
Wow.
Great. So we've got a nice mixture of stuff. And you all will have your own version of spices that you will have. It may say curry powder. It may like it's a blend of spices that you feel happy with. Let me just admit Olivia.
Morning, all.
Morning, morning.
Hey.
Hey. Good morning, and let me... Johnny Cordy's gone. Why this is difficult, I have no idea. All right, your internet connection is unstable. Can you see me, everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah? Am I here?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. There's a lot of spice, and I'm going to put various spices in this thing. Hang on. Now Johnny's phone's fucked. Alice is coming in. It doesn't matter which ones you have, and if you have, you know, like chili and black pepper and, you know, salt, blah, then that's great. You don't have to have the full bandwidth of spices. It doesn't make any difference. Okay? Not to the method of how we're going to cook it. So I'm going to move these out of the way. We're also going to make some bread. And the minimum you need is flour and water and salt. That's the minimum. You can make bread with flour, water, and salt. This is not we're not going to make a flatbread. We're not going to rise it. Do you remember the garlic paste last time?
Yeah.
We're going to make another paste. And as we cook the bread, we're going to put the paste through it so it flavors the bread with garlic. And you've all had naan bread with blah, blah, blah in it and all the rest of it. We're going to do a little bit of that today. Okay?
Justin.
Yeah.
Does it matter what flour you use?
Well, the flour's elasticity is the bit that we're looking for. So white flour will be the most elasticated when we get the dough working. If you use a whole flour, the proteins are a little bit more severe, the starch is a little bit less, so it doesn't stretch as much, but you can still use it. Sometimes I mix chickpea flour with white flour.
So I haven't got to use bread flour.
Pardon?
Haven't got to use bread flour.
You don't need to use bread flour. It's just fucking flour. I don't think out in the back of fucking India somewhere, somebody said, oh my gosh, we don't have bread flour, we can't make a fucking
No problem.
and they fucking make it. So just because it says the word bread on it, it doesn't, that's just the protein content of that flour, all right? It's flour. It will do all of the jobs that you want it to do, whether it's stone milled, blah, 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 okay?
Okay.
Rice first. Here is my rice. Charlie Stone. Probably cutting his hair this morning. That's why he's late. So this is the rice in a container. Here's my pan that I'm going to put my rice into. I don't measure. You can measure if you want to. Claire?
Yeah.
Claire?
Yeah. What?
Did you get all the ingredients down so far?
Yeah.
Right. So look.
Can you see them?
I don't need to see them once you've written them. So I'm pouring the rice in arbitrarily. So that means without measuring. And that is the amount of rice I have. All right?
Yeah.
It's just rice. If I had to measure it, it's probably about 1.5 cups. It doesn't matter. It's just fucking rice in a pan. Now I'm going to put water in it. And I'm covering it. Can anyone see how much that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Covering the rice.
Covering the rice by about a good 1.5 inches. Again, it doesn't matter because the method that I'm using to cook this rice, I take the rice out and cool it down way before the water's evaporated.
Yeah.
All right. So in other words, we're cooking this rice just to the point of it being done. Then we're taking it out, straining it, washing it in cold water so it becomes light and fluffy because we're double cooking the rice.
Okay.
All right. So here I have pan's going on, and it's going to be cooking in the background, and it will start to boil, etc. So the method of this is I'm going to bring this rice to the bottom, take the lid off, and then I'm going to let it boil quite vigorously up to the point where the rice is just about done. Then I wash it and then cool it down and set it aside because I'm double cooking it. What's going to happen is it's going to finish its cooking through. And if it's too soft, then it gets stodgy and it sticks together and it doesn't create a nice light biryani.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Good. Lid on, rice done. So we've got the rice on its way. The next thing we're going to do is do the breads. Oh, as an aside, do you remember the lamb? This is now the lamb. So that whole bit of lamb that I cooked the other day, shredded up with my fingers as soon as it was, I could touch it. I just shredded it up with my fingers and that's it. I haven't cut it up, I've just shredded it. And do you remember all the sticky juices?
Yeah.
I went round with a plastic object spatula thing and I just scraped the juices into the lamb. Okay, so that's my starting point. If it was chicken thighs, you could just cook the chicken thighs and chop them all up, mix them in with the juices that you cooked them in, and then refrigerate it. If it's the beef thigh, you can just do the beef and then break it up if you want to, and then mix it in with the juices, etc. It doesn't make any difference. And Olivia, you joined us a little bit late. So there's the vegetables. I'm going to split this thing into two and make one vegetable and one lamb.
Okay.
All right. So in here, there's some carrot that Kate cooked yesterday with some dark leafy stuff like I don't know, whatever, kale.
Right.
There's some young broccoli and some cauliflower and blah. Right. It's the mixed veg, all of which are pre-cooked. Say good morning to everyone, please.
Morning.
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 Is the picture staying on me this time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you can see we've got the lamb, we've got the vegetables, we've got the onions and the garlic and the ginger. The rice is on. We're going to do the bread next. And this is the cheapest white flour that we can get in like pandemic shortage times. There's no organic posh flour. This is the same flour that everyone else buys. Buns.
In the sun.
Okay. Bowl. And let me just angle it down. Again, I'm not measuring shit. Okay. You could add yogurt. You can add other things to this, but I'm going to do it the most basic way, which is flour with water and some salt. I would say that that's just over a cup of flour. Again, it doesn't matter. Salt.
Justin,
Yeah.
is it plain flour or self-raising? Sorry.
Yeah. Look,
Plain.
okay, I'll say it once more. This is plain white flour.
Roger that.
It doesn't matter what fucking flour it is. But I'm
Okay,
using
no more flour questions.
Okay.
Yep,
In
got
goes
it.
the salt. So it's quite a bit of salt for quite a little bit of flour.
Yeah.
And again, it's my posh person's Malvern sea salt. All right. Happy so far?
Yeah.
How much salt did you put in there, mister?
Who said that?
Claire.
Okay.
I'm not watching a minute. I'm just writing stuff.
Who's watching and who's not watching?
Well, I'm watching. I'm just trying to hear and go back and forth the chat. That's all.
Claire, we're recording
Yeah.
it. You can go back and watch this thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So watch. I'm going to put the amount of salt I put in this ramekin.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to my tap and I'm going to run the tap onto warm. This is warm tap water. So quite literally, the only reason to use warm water is you want the flour. You could use cold water, you just have to work it longer. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you could use cold water, you don't have to use warm water, but warm water keeps the temperature of the flour higher and it makes it easier to work. You'll get it to that point after working it anyway. So I've just put, this is half full. We're not using it all. And I'm going to use my finger to feel the amount of water that I want. So I've got my son's water cup, half full of warm water. I put the amount of flour in here with some salt, and I'm going to add water. and then do this to the point where I get the consistency that I want. So when it's like this, can you see that texture is like flaky?
No, it's a bit bright. Yeah.
Yeah? Too dry?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, this is the next consistency. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's starting to stick to my fingers.
Right.
So the other one was too dry and it flaked. Now I've got a ball, yes,
Yeah.
that is now like sticky. And that's the consistency that I want. Because as I work it and the starch starts to split and it becomes elasticated, this mixture is going to feel nice and smooth and dry. So I've got no flour here. I'm just going to knead this dough like around in circles with this part of the heel of my palm. And look, I'm breaking it, stretching it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Too bright?
No?
No, it's okay.
Just gonna alter the shade. There we go. How's that? So this bit takes about 5 minutes, and we're looking to create a dough that is smooth, elasticated. We're going to rest it for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever the cooking time is for the other stuff. The rice is going, it's almost up to the boil. So this is not anything, there's nothing fucking great happening here. It's just fucking stretching a dough out and pulling it back. Stretching it, pulling it. Any questions?
Nope.
No.
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 I should make you the co-host, Claire, really.
Yeah.
I can do that. So look, see this action that I'm doing? I've got it here, then I push it forward. And it's ripping. I don't know if you can see that.
No.
No.
Can you see it like there? Can you see any of that texture?
No, it's too dark.
No.
Too bright, rather.
Right? Hang on. Better?
Too dark now.
Jesus Christ! How's that?
Yay!
Yeah.
Now we can see it.
Okay, so see this? See this breaking?
Yeah.
That's right. That tells me that it's not ready. That it's ripping. See that? It doesn't stick together. What
Okay.
we're looking to do is to combine the whole thing. So when you pull it like that, it sticks together. It doesn't rip, but it's elasticated and springs back. That's what the point of kneading is to get
Right.
all of the starch and the proteins combining so they become one. So when you roll it out into the thin bread, it doesn't tear and it becomes light and fluffy. We're starting to get there now. It's changing fast.
I really want to do this now.
So remember that bowl that we had earlier?
Yeah.
Rice is boiling, lids off, job done. So look how smooth this has become. Can you see that?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice and smooth and it's stretchy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can now bring it together into this motion, turning it and getting underneath it so it's a nice ball. It's not going to rise. Here's my pan from earlier. Let's have a look. I'll put a little bit of oil in it. This is goose fat. I won't use olive oil. I don't have sunflower oil. I've only got goose fat and ghee. But I won't put olive oil in it. The taste will not complement what we're doing.
Right.
Please factor that in. If you're going to use any oil today, it'll be a neutral oil. Somebody had walnut oil. Who was that?
It was me, Claire.
Right, so
Don't
you're
use
going
that.
to neutral oil, like a rapeseed oil.
Oh, rapeseed. I've got rapeseed.
Rape!
I don't like it. It's really strong.
Nothing wrong with rapeseed.
It's strong.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that goes away. Like we're gonna cook that in a minute. So I'm not going to cover it. It's not going to oxidize and dry out. It's going to stay quite soft in the time frame that we've got to cook everything. Right, let me show you the rice, which is, see what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Like literally, there's no skill involved here. I'm boiling rice. All right. Now you
I
can
can
see
tap at it.
that this has been
There's
on the
always
boil
a
for
skill
about-
in something.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
It's still raw. You can see it's raw.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing from it at all. Can you see the bubbles?
Yeah.
When this is ready, those bubbles are going to be really tight, and they're going to look thick. That's when we take this fucker off. I'll show you that in a second. Okay. So we've made a bread dough. We've got the rice on. Those are the two fundamental things that we need to get done because we've already got our veg cooked and we've got the fucking the meat prepped. Okay. Now, onion.
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 I'm gonna just take off the little bit of flour that's on my chopping board. Didn't we do chopping onions last time?
Yeah.
Voila!
Yeah.
Right, oops. My phone's by yours. Still going. The bread looks amazing. I can't wait to try that.
Did that.
I'm going to wrap those things now.
Charlie.
You alright? Where'd you get those from? Oh,
Fuck is
smells
speaking in the back.
amazing.
That rice is turning quickly. So you've got about a window of a minute or so before the rice is too far gone. So I can hear it almost ready because the bubbles are changing. Which I'm going to show you now. Also just finish doing this. Good. Right. Can you see the tightness of the bubbles?
Kind of.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah. Like fluffy.
Can you see that there's like a scum on the top
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bubbles are quite tight.
Yeah.
Straight away, that tells me this rice now is ready. You can see, maybe you can you see this? Is it too bright?
Is it okay now, or is it still a bit?
No, it's because remember we're double cooking it.
Right.
This process requires that the rice is just under.
Right.
Okay.
The residual heat in the pan and the rice is going to continue cooking it. I'm going to get my big old bloody blah. Pop it in the sink. And then drain it and wash it.
How long was it roughly cooking for then? Justin, you hear me?
Don't think so.
I think it was 20. Well, it could be 15. But...
Done.
Justin,
Yeah.
how long was that roughly cooking for then?
Well, you saw me put it on. So what time did I put it on? 2, something like that. So it took, that amount of rice took, 15, 16 minutes, come up to the boil, get it to that point.
Okay.
But it's not the amount of time it takes, because if you do 1 cup and I did a cup and a half, yours is going to take less time than mine.
Okay.
If your ring isn't as powerful as this one, it'll take longer to heat up, so it'll take longer.
Hey, talk about my powerful ring.
The point is, it's not the time, it's did you see and hear the differences? So the rice told you when it was ready.
Yeah.
You could see that the scum was on the top. I kept boiling it hard, and the bubbles became really tight. And in the 3 minutes that I showed you it when it was rawer, and it just got to that point itself nicely. Because here,
And you're draining it in cold water.
cold water, I rinsed it. This rice now is cold, and it's stopped cooking.
Nice.
Right, look.
Yeah.
It's cold. There's no heat. It's cold.
Okay.
The starch is washed off, and it's ready to go.
Justin,
Yeah.
if you're cooking a meal with rice that you're going to eat served straight away, but you still want to wash the starch off it, how do you go about that?
I would not cook rice and serve it. I would do it this way and reheat it.
Really?
Okay.
All right.
Always reheat in the pan. Slow
I'm
reheat.
going to show you how I reheat it now.
Great.
We're going to get to that point.
I can use this rice technique with the last one.
They haven't done this already to your rice. I've put it back in the sieve because I want it not to enough. It's got to drain through, okay? So it's got to be really dry, this rice. So when you cook it like that and then refrigerate it overnight, which you can do, that'll be beautifully dry. It'll just be light and fluffy, and you can do anything to it then. It's when you've overcooked it or when you've tried to do it at the moment and it just doesn't do that well. All right.
So you could leave that overnight, could you?
Yeah.
Could you leave that rice overnight?
In the fridge. I wouldn't leave it out overnight, but I'd leave it.
No. Oh, okay.
Okay, so like one thing to factor in that in every fucking restaurant you're going in, the rice is pre-cooked.
Yeah.
You ain't ever having a fucking takeaway without the rice being pre-cooked. They're not cooking rice on the minute for your benefit. They've got it all prepped. It's all done. Right, chopping onions. We are just going to chop these onions like this. No, there's no technique, well, apart from not cutting your fingers. Like, it's just chopping them in that shape. So they're not. It's not like a fine chop or anything like that. It's just chopping. Nothing complicated. We will need a lot of onion because the real key to a good rice dish is the amount of onion and seasoning you put in there. You remember the beans yesterday or the day before? How much seasoning those beans took and the different levels of seasoning we went through?
Yeah.
It's the same process. You need that. That rice is dead as fuck right now. And in order to get the rice alive, you have to learn how to season the rice properly. So it's good to know that Big Day's all over this. All over it. Fucking all over this one. All over it.
You'll have to have the bin juice now. Rice juice.
All right,
Hang on.
there we go. So there's the onions. Chopped, rather. And pan on. Right, so you've got your various oils. Yeah. That only because I have ghee in stock, but I could use sunflower oil. I could use, walnut oil. I could use a neutral oil. Ghee is clarified butter, so it's the curd separated from the whey, as it were. And basically, this has a very distinctive flavour, and it also has a high burning point. So, not that we're going to be doing anything on a high heat, but this doesn't burn like normal butter does.
Oh, nice.
All right. So I take a good, and I mean a fucking very generous of ghee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That they dollop this on in fucking Indians. You get that a lot. Move my wife's buttons. The process of cooking the onion allow about 15 minutes for. All right? We're not adding anything other than the onion to the butter, and we're bringing the onions down. So there were 2 big onions. They don't need to, I'm not listening. Listen, there's no cooking. This is a very delicate, gentle process of sweating and reducing these onions from raw. Right, so the pan is full of onion. Can you hear it?
No.
No, exactly.
So it's really, really low.
Really low. All right.
Okay.
Can you see any of the bubbles here?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
So, do we call this a quiet sizzle? Like it's literally sizzling, but it's very quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And what this is doing is going to gradually extract the sugar from the onion. All right. If we're too aggressive, like there's times when I cook onions on a higher heat, that would be like for a pasta. But for this dish, the key for this is to give a softness of the onion. We're taking out the water and we're maximizing the flavor and we're increasing the sugar content of the onions because the onions are quite sweet. Once you get past the rawness, you have quite a sweet vegetable. So we're taking away the rawness and we're reducing it down. So that big pile is going to be like this much. So we're taking out all the water very patiently over a period of time of 15, 20 minutes, which gives us loads of time to do the garlic and the ginger and the spices. Because the rice is done, the breads are sat there, we're literally just bringing this thing together. Good. All right, so with that going on, garlic. If you like a lot of garlic, like me, then add more. If you are a little bit more less favorable to garlic, then add less. 4 big cloves. And this is the same process as I did on Thursday. Just hit them, and that will separate the skin from the clove itself. And I'm going to chop up the garlic very, very fine. So I'll probably get the salt out and just make it into a paste. I won't put it in the pestle and mortar. $11. Anyone on the sauce yet?
No.
No.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. It's like it's been made acceptable.
No. So salt on the garlic
Again.
and then crush.
Here we are, can't you see that now?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm gonna have to go back.
Oh, those birds are beautiful.
It's like my Saturday Mary Poppins film.
Oh, good goodness.
Dan's popping around the corner.
Wow.
Okay, done.
Ah.
Bowl in. Remember, I covered the last one in oil. I'm covering this in ghee. So whenever I add my garlic, it now comes with its own salt and butter paste.
Nice.
All right. Again, that keeps for days.
Can you put oil in it though?
Yeah, that could be sunflower oil. Could be same thing. It just so happens that because this is like a butter, look how thick it is.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one was separate, wasn't it? The oil covered the garlic. It looks like this has made it into a paste.
Okay.
Back to the onions. Can you hear them?
Oh,
No.
See them starting to soften at the bottom. They're going a lot more golden,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the point. I'm just going to rotate them a little bit. So just fold them over. Stir them. It's not complicated. It's stirring onions. Good. And again, I'm not adding anything to that. Done. Next is the ginger. Most people have a semi-moldy piece of ginger just stuck in their fridge.
Yeah, I got
We were no different.
Yeah.
I just cut the mold out earlier.
that.
All right.
Okay.
And I'm just going to take the outer skin off it like that.
Justin, can you use ginger that's like already
Don't say it, Sarah.
Yeah.
Where mine lived.
it's clear? I'm trying to say I've got like
It wasn't me.
Sorry, Sarah. Yes, you use lazy ginger. If you want to.
it's ginger paste.
Pardon?
Ginger paste it is.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you can, but like, even though that had mold on it, this is still fresh.
Yeah.
We're dissipating the flavour and the freshness every time we put it in a fucking jar over 6 months and forget about it in the cupboard. This is just a grater, and I'm going to grate the ginger.
Nutmeg.
Yeah. So Parmesan, nutmeg, grater, whatever. Just a small bit. And because it's quite a fibrous thing, like chopping it doesn't really do it any favors to a degree unless you spend a bit of a time doing it. I don't need to do that today. So there's my ginger, and now I'm going to chop the grated ginger so I have it as I want to. And when I, look at me, when I was in India learning how to cook this dish, which is a true story.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
Have an equal amount of these two. Equal. Right? I'm a little bit less on the ginger and you know, more on the garlic.
Equal.
They were fucking 1 to 1. All right?
Yes, you can help me.
So I'm going to add some salt to my ginger.
Roo. Yeah.
For that as well. And there's my, so that's called a ginger paste, and the other one's a garlic paste.
Cool.
I'm not mixing them together because I want to do the bread with just garlic and not ginger.
Okay.
All right. Good. So there we are. Everyone up to date?
Yeah.
So the rice is rested and cooked. The bread is ready to cook. The onions are softening very slowly.
Yeah.
It's 20. We've taken 40 minutes to do it this much. The next part is gonna, you know, this doesn't. We're gonna have a lot. We're gonna have fuck all to do in a minute because it's just gonna have to cook. Chilies. These are not hot, so I won't use them. Well, I'll use one because it adds a mildness, but I want heat in this dish. So again, this is preference. Yeah. This is whatever you prefer, add or not. If you don't like chili, don't add.
Okay, don't worry.
Okay. If you don't have ginger, don't add it. Like rice with garlic is fucking delicious. Rice with garlic and chili is delicious. You know, it doesn't make any difference. This is the technique and method of cooking rice more than it is what I'm putting in it. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all chopped up. I'm not going extra fine with these. I like a little bit of texture with them. In a bowl. These are all my son's bowls, by the way. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Spence. Back to the onions. And can you see their colour?
Yeah.
So it's gone from white to like a more golden kind of colour.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of raw ones in there. The water's starting to disappear. Good. All righty. So we've got chili, garlic, ginger, chili. Perfect. Spices. I may just use this one today because
Yeah.
I could use chili, but like I would like it to taste of these ones. And I'll read off the back again. The ingredients in this garam masala are coriander, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, cumin, fennel, black pepper, chili, cardamom, star anise, bay leaf, sunflower oil, and nutmeg. All right, so it's a mixed spice.
Okay.
Okay. So please call out what you've got.
Have a little look now.
Okay. Who's got what? Bert, what you got?
Oh, I
I've got chili powder, I've got cumin, I've got mustard seeds, I've got some kind of garam masala, I've got cinnamon, I've got cardamom, I've got some various curry leaves.
Okay.
Sugar.
So think of it this way. You can be quite liberal with things like chili powder and fennel and cinnamon, coriander.
Yeah.
You can't be as liberal with cardamom and with other things. Like mustard seeds, you can put those in quite liberally. There are certain spices that you need to just, I would like put a quarter of a teaspoon in. Like if you've got, let's say you've got fennel powder or fennel seeds and you've got coriander, like you can go 3 teaspoons of coriander to 1.5 of fennel.
Okay, and cumin as well. You can hammer the cumin in.
Cumin, I would put 1. So do you get me? So there's some that you can do heavy, and there's some that you can do. You want to do light. And cinnamon and cumin, they're lighter because they'll overpower everything.
Yeah, I don't like.
So easier just to get a really good garam masala, basically.
Easier to get one that's blended that suits you, and then use that.
And then how much of your garam masala is going in?
About a curry powder that they do down Low Cathedral Road. Go into your halal shop and get one of their made curry powders. Or they call, if you look at it, they call it masala. So you buy a different masala, so a mix of spices. That's what you're looking to do. You can make your own. Right, you can get your coffee grinder and put some cloves in and some coriander seeds and all the rest of it, and make your own masala if you like. So here's another masala that is whole. Can everyone see me?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So here's another one that's whole, and it's look, they're all whole in there.
All right, so you'd have to.
And I turn it.
Into powder.
But the amount of which I'd have to turn this fucker for the volume of rice and meat would be too much.
Yeah.
All right. In this one, cumin seed, black pepper, nutmeg, cardamom, cassia pieces, and cloves. So it's not the same, even though it's called garam masala. Not the same.
Oh, right.
So they're all a little bit different. So the spicing. Like we're not in fucking Bangladesh, so for our purposes, it doesn't matter. You know, we're not cooking a regional dish that has been there for 1,000 years. This is just like learning how to spice some rice. So, Charlie, what you got?
So, have we got garam masala?
Sean, what you got?
Let me have a look.
Everyone's either in the cupboard or they fucking fallen asleep. Hello?
Cloves, nutmeg.
Hello? Say it again, Sean, say it again.
Cloves and nutmeg. Bay leaves. Yeah, that's about it at the minute.
Not got much.
Is it me breaking it up or is someone else breaking it up? I can't tell.
I don't know.
I think it's me. Is it me?
Yeah, not a lot of Asian spices.
Right. Okay.
So, cloves and a few other things.
Yeah. So look, if you've got some chili, if you've got some coriander, if you've got fennel, and you've got black pepper, and a little bit of nutmeg, and maybe some cinnamon, you've got plenty. If you've only got chili powder and black pepper and salt, you've got plenty.
Right.
All right. Just like smell the spice and how much you need to divide it into what you're tasting. The spice is there to blend and complement, not dominate the flavor. If you can't taste the meat or the rice, you know basmati rice has a particular lovely sort of creamy kind of fragrance.
Yeah.
You should still have that fragrance in your food. If you've put too much spice in it, that all you can taste is the cinnamon or the overdose of whichever spice it is, too much. So this is the important part, and I'll show you. There we are. I'll show you what I mean. So that is probably just over a tablespoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the amount that I'm going to use for everything.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
These ones,
Yeah.
these aromatic ones.
Yeah.
So these are the live spices, if you like, the ginger and the chili and the garlic. Those are fucking liberal because they're aromatic. They blend in. There's no, we can cook them out. They're not dominating. When the Indians cook a biryani in a certain region, the one I was in, they add raw ginger and garlic last minute to lift the whole thing.
Right.
So they add some in now, as I'm going to do, and then they'll do the spices with the meats, and then they put the rice in, as I'm going to do, and then at the end, they finish it with raw of butter and ginger and garlic. And then they put the coriander and other bits and lemon juice and all the rest of it off. So it's a lovely layered process. They want cooked garlic, and they also want the raw garlic as well going through it.
Nice.
All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, as we've been talking, the onions are virtually done. So we put them in at about 10 past, quarter past, and they said they'd be about 20 minutes. And they're at that point where you see the goldenness?
Yeah.
All right, they've definitely changed. They're not taking up, they're taking up about half the pan. They've reduced by about 50%, it looks to me. Okay?
Okay.
So that's the only spice I'm going to use. If I wanted to, I could have made up some pepper and chili and use that as a spice. Like you may want to go out and buy a fucking spice, great, lovely, but just use what you've got today if you're going to do this thing. Get the most important thing is the way we cook the rice and how we cool it down, and how we're treating those onions and how we did these bits. Your individual spice flavor is up to you.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to show you how to treat the spices next in order to get the most out of them, rather than because they will work against you as much as they will work for you. And if you get the temperature wrong in the way you treat the spice is going to be acrid and burnt, and it's going to lessen the dish. Everything that we add now should be harmonious.
Okay.
All right, so it should be like adding another note to a chord. It doesn't want to be discordant. It wants to harmonize. On you, Bert, that is. All right. Okay, so let us do two things. I'm going to get another pan on the go. This one's for you, Liv.
Okay.
So another pan. I'm going to put it on, and we're going to cook the vegetable version of this for you.
Okay.
Quite honestly, there is no difference.
Right.
All right, there's no difference. We literally are going to add the onions, put the spices in, put the vegetables in, coat them, put the rice in, put a lid on, and then bring it up to a temperature that we find good. Add our fucking seasoning, and it's done.
Okay.
No difference. We're going to do exactly the same with meat, but I want you to see the way in which it's more about how I cook the veg beforehand. All these veg are crispy and crunchy.
Right.
All right, nothing's been cooked beyond a firm texture. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And that means I can recook these without overcooking them because they're undercooked, and they can take some extra cooking and absorb flavor, etc. and they'll still be firm. They won't be, you know, like
Solid.
mashy.
Yeah.
Quite often, traditional older mothers and grandmothers, they put the fucking cauliflower on and the cabbage before the meat went in the oven, right? And they cook the meat well done, but they get the fucking veg on at 9 in the morning. Like, what's that veg ever done to get fucking 4 hours of cooking? I know. You get me? Like veg, you bring the veg up to the, you bring the water up to the boil, you drop the veg in, you bring it back up to the boil, you leave it 2 minutes, and then you take it. That's it, done.
Okay.
Right. So if you've got a beautiful fresh bit of broccoli like this, you
Yeah.
drop it in boiling water, you bring it to the boil, you cook it for 1 to 2 minutes, and then you take that fucker out.
Right. Okay.
If you've got a bit of cauliflower like this, do the same process. This carrot may take 2 to 3 minutes instead of, it's a denser.
Yeah.
But I put it in boiling water. I bring the water back up to the boil, and that's when I start counting the cooking.
Okay.
All right. When it's something like young kale, I bring it up to the boil and I cook it for less than a minute.
Okay.
Only after it started boiling.
Okay.
Good. All right. Okay, we're ready to go. Spence, can you get mummy? All right, thank you for telling us. Right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do that.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Oh, let me try and make it stay. Ooh. No. My assistant will be down soon. She can hold it. All right, can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes?
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
we can see.
Great.
the camera.
Okay, good. So here's the onion mix. And I'm going to take out part of the onion mix and add it to Olivia's. Straight away, that pan's too hot. Hear that?
Yeah.
It went straight into a sizzle. I don't want that. That's going to burn the onion. Don't want that at all. So I'm keeping stirring it, taking it off the heat. I'll turn the heat right down. I do not want that. I do not want that.
Okay.
Don't want that. And as that calms down, so if I continue to stir it, that's going to be fine. It's not going to burn.
Okay.
If I left it, it would burn, and all that fucking 20 minutes of patient, like an onion, is just undone.
Right.
Okay?
So low heat again.
You've got to be observant. It's more about the sounds and the textures than it is about what you're adding.
Right.
Like it's the way we're cooking this stuff that makes it wonderful. Can you hear it now? It's gone. The heat's down. Yeah. So now it goes back on the heat. So I've got onions in there, onions in here. I am going to add 1, 2, about 1 in there. That was garlic. Ginger, about 1/2 to 1/3 in the vegetables. And if I added 2 in there, well, I'm adding about 3/4 to 1 in there. Yes?
Yes.
Good. Give it a nice little stir around. Immediately, you're gonna pick up the aromatics of the ginger and the garlic cooking. We do not want color. No color. My chilies. I'm gonna pop a few in there, and I'm gonna put some in there. Again, to taste. Liv, if you don't like chili that much, then remove them, or add very mild ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in there like that. That's there. How are your cinnamon buns, Kitty? Are they like Bristol's? Kitty's Bristol's. The Bristol buns. All right. Everyone happy?
Yeah.
We've had ginger, we've had garlic. and the chili's in, you can see now that the onions take up this much, like fuck all. And they're all soft, and they're nice and golden. I really wish some of you could be here to smell it, because my wife assures me it's delicious. Right. Okay, the spices are next. All the time, I'm thinking about this spice needs to go in the veg, it needs to go in the rice, it needs to be absorbed. And it does not, there's no change in heat. This is not a high heat cooking process.
Okay.
All right. Splendid. Look at that. Fucking beautiful.
It's making me hungry.
It's making me hungry.
I mean,
Yeah, I am going to eat it, Spence. Alrighty. So they are happy. Now we don't have long because we need to move. The spices will end up getting over. All right, even at this low heat. So that's the stage we're at.
Okay.
All right, everyone happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is about procedure and heat and order. It's not about complicated techniques. There's nothing complicated about this, but you need to pay attention to the sounds and the smells, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. Well, I don't think it is anyway. But alrighty, so here's the veg, and I'd be happy with that veg going in those shapes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a little bit out, and I'm just going to roughly chop them into, you know, other shapes. And I'm going to take it straight away and just put it in there. Now that's going to cool down our spices, which is a good thing right now, because as I said, you know, those spices have only got a few minutes before they go over and they start to become bitter. I'm taking the kale and the bit of carrot, and I'm just roughly chopping it up, and I'm putting that in like so. And yes, see that?
Yep.
I'm just going to give that a light stir. So the veg is in, and we've got a base layer of onion and blah de blah. Here's the rice. And I'm going to just look how light and fluffy that rice is now.
This looks so nice.
So I'm going to put that in over the top. Like this. And like I learned in India, I'm going to take a nice blobby of that and put that on the top before I put the lid on. That's the garlic. Here's a little bit of the ginger. I'm not going to stir it in. I'm just going to pop the lid on. So you've got the bit at the bottom elevating to the top.
Right, okay.
No stirring yet. All right?
Okay.
Good. Now we're going to go to the meat side. So whether it be your chicken or your lamb or whatever it is that you've cooked, you're at the point where you've got soft cooked meat that's been in the fridge overnight, or you've got leftover meat that you need to use, like half a chicken carcass or something, and it's at this point where you've shredded it. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 I'm going to mix in the juices from the meat. You can see that I'm going to clean the pan basically with this meat, like that. And I didn't season this at all. I just cooked it. And you saw me put it in the oven the last time. And I'm taking the handfuls of this, and they're going in there. All of it, the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And that was the lamb shoulder.
That was the lamb shoulder. But it could be a chicken, it could be chicken thighs, it could be, you know, what did you cook, Maya? A top side? No, rump. I think Myriam cooked the rump. Could be a rump.
I've got chicken today as well.
Say what?
I've got chicken left from that breast yesterday, so that'd be nice.
Breast. Okay. Just factor in that chicken breast. Sorry, you didn't see any of that, then, did you? Apologies.
No.
There we go. So I've just popped it in here and done the same as I did with the vegetables, which is, can you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've taken it and I'm just stirring it through and mixing the spices and the onions with the meat. Because remember when I told you about cooking from the fridge? Okay, so this meat is really dense. It's already perfectly cooked, so I can't fuck it up at this stage, so long as I'm respectful of the heat. And then all I do is just get the remainder of the rice and pop it in. And then just do that. Okay. Same process with my pastes. I get a little bit of that and I just drizzle it around. And a little bit of this one. That's the ginger and the garlic. Drizzle that around. And I'm going to get the ghee. You can see it, and I'm going to pour some ghee. I would advise you to put some unsalted or salted butter on the top. Okay? Like that. Lid on. Done. Voila. So, notice I've not added any salt to the rice. I need the spices to cook into it because I've added salt through the garlic and I've added salt through the ginger and I've added salt in various places. I need this to cook for a bit before the seasoning is identified. All right? So this is going to cook for 15 or 20 minutes before I taste it to adjust the seasonings. And the seasonings that I'm going to add into this is going to be lemon juice and it's going to be salt and some black pepper. That's it.
Right.
Fan of coriander, so I wouldn't add that. I would personally add it because it's quite a light fragrance to it. But you can add parsley, you know, when you're chopping up the garlic and the ginger, you could chop that really fine and chop your herbs into it.
Okay.
All right, and you could maybe put that with the ghee as well, you know, as your finisher. So you've got herbs chopped up with this thing, and you just plop it on the top when it's and you literally serve it like that. You know, you season it, you cook it, and as it goes to the table, then you put your herb mix through of whatever description you've got. Right, let's do the breads.
Oh, lush, yeah.
Okay.
Right, I'm gonna grab Justin.
Yes.
Let me just grab Sarah. Let me just grab Sarah so she can watch it.
Yeah. All right. About an hour or so ago, we made a dough with flour and with salt and water. I kneaded it for some time, not a lot of time, 5-7 minutes, until it became elasticated. Now look at it now. It does not break.
Cool.
Look at that. Voila.
No.
Voila.
Voila. Beautiful dough. Look.
Sacre bleu.
Looks fucking great.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to roll it into some kind of phallic shape. Nice and thick. And when making these things, we want to get them into a sort of uniform shape. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The camera.
Sorry. There you go.
That's it. Perfect.
So I rolled it and then I just cut them up. Yeah.
Oh, little ones.
Yeah, it's little ones. Or portions.
Control
yeah.
card.
I put a little bit of flour on the board and I'm rolling
What
it
is portion control?
into circles. Yeah. A little bit of flour
Oh, God.
into circles.
I
A
know.
little bit of flour.
I'm so glad I have flour here.
Circles.
Me too.
Same.
I'm just going to fast forward to the bread.
Into circles. And
I think my phone's going to die.
so we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Leave them there a minute. Nice.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. I have just put a pan on to heat here. Whilst we make the breads, this pan's going to get nice and warm. Job done. You can use a non-stick pan, cast iron pan, doesn't matter. As long as you get it nice and warm. I'm going to show you like what we're looking for with the bread and how we know it's cooked or cooking and when to change it over. All right. So first,
Medium.
Say again.
Medium heat, low heat.
It's on medium. I don't want it to smoke.
Okay.
I just like the important bit is the pan gets an even heat all the way through, and it's medium to high.
Okay.
Oh, right, you're not doing them in the oven?
Nope.
No, on the.
Sorry.
Okay. So I've taken one and I'm cutting it.
Patted.
Happy? And it looks like that. A circle.
Oh,
I take that, which is a rolling pin, put a little flour on it, like that, and then I hold this bit and I push out this way, like that. Okay?
If you haven't got a rolling pin,
use a bottle, or I'll do one with my hands now. So now you've got that, and that looks like a teardrop.
nice.
Yes?
Yeah.
oh.
I'm going to turn it the other way and do the same thing. Going to hold and push out and pull back. There we are. And that now is a lovely soft bread ready.
Oh, wow.
That looks lush.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can anybody not follow that?
I can follow that.
Yeah?
Like one of
I don't know if you can see how, like you can almost see my hand through it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like it's quite thin. And it's, look, it's not sticky now anymore. It's lovely and pliable. I can fuck about with it. Right? I'll do another one without the rolling pin. Okay? So a little bit of flour, pat it down. And now I'm going to just turn it and push it out. Turning it over each time. And then I'm going to get my heel and do that and start to stretch it and do this. And then I'm going to start to push it, push it, push it. So I'm squashing it each time with my thumbs going around in a circle and stretching it out that way. Yes? Yes?
Yes.
I'm not looking to tear the fucking thing. I'm just looking to do the same thing, but with my fingers, it will naturally have a different texture. But again, we're looking for, I don't know if you can see that. Just angle this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you see that it's still thin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put my finger behind it, you can see like it's very thin. And you can maybe throw it over this way and stretch it and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Pan's hot. Yes, see the pan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In it goes.
Fuck it.
There's nothing in that pan, is there? Like it's dry.
No, it's dry. It's dry. And I'm going to continue making other breads whilst that one is cooking. Now, so I'm going to make this one, and then we're going to focus on what the bread looks like. And that's it. Yes, I know I've done it many times before. Yes, I know that looks pretty straightforward, but you can't fuck it up. It's just a bit of dough. Take your time. But look, this one's a little bit fucking shonky, and this one's really round. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now, I don't know what you can see, but what I can see is this looks different to this. It's a different color. This, see the darkness here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So that tells me that that's still raw.
Right.
All right? See this bubble?
No.
No, it's a bit bright.
No, bit bright. Hang on. I'm going to flip it over. You can see that. So there the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you see this bit?
Yeah.
That's raw. This is cooked. This is raw.
Yeah.
So we're looking for this thing to become cooked. And you can see there's little bits. You'll notice there's little raw bits all the way through it. And we're just patiently waiting for this one to become nice and cooked. All right. So this is a good color. I'm happy with that. And it's going to be a little bit darker probably on the other side because the pan's, gaining its heat, etc. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to just keep doing these breads until they're cooked. I can store them in some foil, some kitchen foil, and they can hold until later. So long as I don't make them too much done, they'll hold, okay? So these are not like your shop-bought ones, which are filled with oil and other preservatives that make them really fucking sticky or crispy. These are not like that. Even though I used like basic flour, water, and thing, these are way, way superior because I put love in them. Ready? I'm gonna go back to my pan. I'll take this one. Yeah. Lay it in like that. And like any pastry, you know when you cook the first pancake, it's all a little bit wanky.
Yeah.
And by the time you've got the pan going and all the rest of it, like the pancakes seem to get better. It's exactly the same with bread. So is that a better shot for you?
Yeah.
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 So you can see like dark, light.
Yeah.
See the bubbles coming earlier on this one?
Yeah.
This is a good example. There we are. There we go. Fuck, I think this computer's going to overheat. It's right on the stove. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is a bubble. Like the bread is rising. Look. See those lumps?
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
That's what you're looking for. You're looking for craters of air. And we flip it over. Look at that.
Ooh, oh God, I'm so hungry.
Look at that.
Oh my God, somebody
Picture fucking City Road, midnight, kebab going in the middle of this fucker.
I'm going now because
How
this is just
fucking
not
beautiful
fair.
is that? So the pan's not too aggressive, otherwise it would all burn and scar. So I don't mind a little bit of burning because that adds to nice flavors. I don't want it. Got me?
Yeah.
Lovely. Look at that. Fucking beautiful.
That looks so good.
Carly, this will be useful. You will be doing this.
I will. I am gonna.
Right? Nothing that I've done requires like any degree of training. I'm respectful of the heat of my pans. And I'm respectful of the texture of the dough. Right?
I'm gonna have a go at this later.
That one's done.
Delicious.
Next one goes in. This is the one that's wavy. Doesn't matter. In it goes. Exactly the same thing that we're looking for is for this thing to start to rise. So that tells me that the pan's nice and even. This is a great temperature to be cooking this bread at. I will come back to that in a second. Right. Here. Hey. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to get my wife to describe what's being smelled here. I can't smell fucking shit.
So,
Yeah, Spence, you can do it. What can you smell?
Oh my god.
Describe some of these smells, please.
Garlic, rice,
Good.
salt, smell the ghee, spices,
Fucking beautiful. Flatbread, don't forget that. We're going to flip it.
I
Lovely.
just said to Spencer I went for a
Now then. See this now with the thing? Now I'm going to start to weave it in. Oh my God. Look at that.
oh, just didn't know.
Oh my goodness. Thanks, Spence. So, see that now?
Yeah.
Oh, Billy. Oh,
Oh my God. That is...
That's been on a really low heat.
Oh, it's so low, Bert.
Okay.
It's like the fucking bottom string on your double bass. Low as fuck. Right. Now, I've just turned that off, okay? So I'm stirring this in. This is the vegetable one.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of that, look at the colors at the bottom from the spices now that have really toasted.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
oh, wow.
That's so good.
Oh, wow.
I really want to eat everything.
Look at that. They're ready. So they're both off. And here's another important thing. Turn the bread off. Lid's back on. Yeah. Lid on. Lid on. That rice is too hot to eat now. Okay? So these are going to rest for like 5 or 6, 10 minutes.
Okay.
Very hot enough before I taste it. The hotter your food, the more difficult it is to taste the seasoning. Okay?
Yeah.
If I tasted that now, it's going to burn my mouth, and I'm going to get an artificial sense of the flavor. It's got to calm down first before I start to adjust seasoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
I wish I cooked this along with you now because I'm really hungry.
look, I've just recorded the fucking thing. We're doing it in
I
live
know.
time.
Yeah,
Nice.
I know.
Where we cut to a fucking infomercial about how to fucking insert a tampon. This is not that.
Can we all Can we all
Everything,
have an
like,
advert
it's 12
space?
o'clock, so it's an hour and a half, and it's all complete. Outside of me seasoning that, this meal is finished.
But if I'd
But-
done it along with
Right.
you, I could be eating that now.
But you couldn't focus as well, Carly, as doing it.
All right. Okay.
Anywho. So there we
Anywho.
are. There's the bread.
God.
How are you gonna keep
Burn.
the bread warm?
There's the things. Everyone happy with the bread? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, look, can you see the texture now? See all the craters?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks light. Look at that.
Oh, delicious.
I just want to eat it right
It's
now.
like porn food.
Thanks, Carly. It is indeed.
Stroke my arm bread.
So, but we used up. We're using stuff. This is not. I didn't. This was. Oh, I've got this. Let's do this with it. Remember, the spices are your own choice. The spices.
Yeah.
Because you remember the seasoning that we did last time about how to season from front to back. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that lies with this now. You need a full. You've got. So what's going to happen is you've got the aromatics will travel into here, into the front of your nose, and then the flavor, the season, is from the mouth. So don't mistake what you smell, which goes up here, to what you taste, which goes back here.
Okay.
Do I need to cover that again?
Nope.
So if you smell basil or any kind of herb or lemon, just smell a lemon. The lemon will travel up into your nose and will hit those receptors in there, the ones that I don't have.
Right.
If you put the lemon on your tongue, it goes that way as well as that way, right? I'm not talking about this one where you fucking have a little nod because it's too sharp or whatever. But the flavor travels that way and the aromatics go this way.
Okay.
Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
So you're looking for that the salt at the front, traveling to the acid at the back, a nice calm line. And then, for me, I'm going to get the heat after this has traveled, in comes the heat. If the heat comes in too soon, I can't taste shit. You know when people say, oh, it's fucking, you know, I'll have a fucking hottest madras they do and all that shit. You can't even taste it. You can't get, the heat is dominating before the flavors come in. Okay, whatever. Well, that's not how I like my food.
Yeah.
So let's get the vegetable one. Here we go. Yeah, like that. And I'm going to taste it. Still a little bit on the hot side, so I'm going to take that out. And look, can you see how lovely the onion is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Fucking beautiful. Okay, right. I've tasted it. So if I want this, if this flavor was a volume, I would want the volume at about a 6 to a 7 in terms out of 10. And at the moment, the volume's at about a 2. I can barely hear it. It's beautifully balanced, but I can barely hear the fucking flavor volume. So I need to salt. Add some salt. Again, your salt adding will be different because the size of what you're adding it to will be different. So I'm looking for that flavor to turn itself up to a, you know, a 6 or a 7. I'm going to try it again. Right, I'll find my fucking money. Now, lemon, in goes the acid. The amount of acid you add will not affect the amount of salt that you've put in. So in other words, when you start to add the vinegar part, the acid part, once you've got to balance the salt first. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So get the seasoning of the salt first. Technically, pepper is aromatic. It's not a seasoner, but it doesn't travel on the tongue like a vinegar or a salt. So I'm going to mix this through. See how light and fluffy the rice has stayed? It's just fucking, the rice hasn't changed in all of that time. It's still light and fluffy. Now, interestingly, with some pepper, as I've stirred that through, the seasoning of the salt has lessened, so it's gone back down to like a 4.5, which is why, like, it's too hot. It's affecting my palate. Every time it cools down a little bit, I'm getting a more realistic view of how the seasoning is. So if you season when it's too hot, you may put too much salt in. By the time it cools down, it's going to be too fucking high. It's going to hit you here. So take your time with the seasoning. The seasoning is the most important part, alongside how hot everything is when you cook it. You know, when you're cooking the onions, when you're cooking the spices, when you're warming everything through, that is the most important. It's not what we added, because you're all going to do this or something like it. It's all going to be delicious. If you get the temperature of the pan and you get the seasoning right, your food's going to fucking transform itself. So I'm going to get a plate and I'm going to turn it out on the plate a little, like that, or serve it, turn it out, serve it, whichever you like. Everyone happy?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a bread. I'm going to take a bread and just cut the bread into a couple of like stylish looking pieces.
Oh my goodness.
Pop those on.
Amazing.
Like that. I don't have any herbs to hand. so that doesn't matter. I'm going to take a little bit of a lemon and flop a couple of those on. And there you go. A bit more of that.
Beautiful.
You can have some yogurt with it.
Yeah.
And that's it in a nutshell. The same process with the lamb will take place with the cooking, with the seasoning rather. Here it is. And the only difference is the meat, which hasn't been seasoned yet, will absorb a lot of the salt. So I may season that 2 or 3 times in stages, just so I get all of the seasoning through the meat itself. Comprende?
Yeah.
And that bit, oh, look at that.
Jess, could you add some mint to the yogurt for the lamb?
Look at the bottom. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the rice is still integral. Look how light it looks. See it? And we got lovely sticky bits at the bottom. Can you see them?
Yeah.
And you still got the light fragrant part at the top. That's why I don't mix it all through, is I cook it with a base at the bottom and let the rice sit on it, so I keep the lightness of the rice, and then I'll get the stickiness. All those sugars that we spent that time getting out of the onions, all the natural sugars in the lamb, that's what we're seeing right by there. All right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can put herbs in your yogurt. You can do yogurt with cucumber. You know, chop the cucumber up and make like a raita thing.
Yeah.
There
Beautiful. Looks delicious.
Fucking banging.
Banging. Okay, everyone. Off you go. Go and cook your shit.
So excited. Cheers,
I'm gonna
Jess.
stop the recording.
Thanks, Jess.
Send everyone the link of the recording so everyone can watch
Yes,
it back.
please.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Gin and tonic time.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jess.
Bye.